Inflation cost inducement threat to original promise is irrelevant. To attract prohibition contains statement in question is a question whether such confession has been made by a accused person. It's been made by a person. Inducement threat to original promise. Threat promise against the accused person. Third, arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. Means President of India is the constitutional head and is the executive Parliament does supreme right to legislative matters. Parliament has power to make law and state business possible. So the government has power to state and dependent incentive aid as the resources in the way. State, the term state includes government, Parliament of India, government and legislation of India. Local authorities, other authorities, universities, state and all local and other authorities of India, government, legislative, state government and Parliament of India. Parliament of India. The share not as this. District board panchayat board not necessarily engaged in performing care as Hollywood professionals, but acting as agency responsibilities. They are the government, university president, corporation, and stock exchange. Article 10. Law inconsistent with or in agreement with the fundamental right. All laws enforced before commencement of Constitution inconsistent with the provisions of fundamental rights are void. State shall not make any law which takes away the conferment of property or contribution to this clause in this act article unless the context otherwise. Law includes ordinance, order by law, regulation, notification, custom. Law in force, commencement of constitution. Existing law inconsistent with the fundamental rights are void. Future law void. State cannot make laws that take away fundamental rights. Invalid part not separable Doctrine of severability. Doctrine of severability. Doctrine of severability. I'm studying Constitution of India. Chapter Article 13 consistent with the provisions of the parts. The provisions of the part and at Part 3 Constitution only part will be of the law declare invalid. भारतीय संविधान पढ़ रही हूँ. From the part of the law declaration is valid. I don't know. Invalid part must be separable. Court will declare but and declare the part invalid. If not separable, entire law the court declares invalid. This is known as rule of severability. The phone is far away from me. Oh my gosh. Doctrine of eclipse. Existing law that are inconsistent with fundamental rights are void to the extent of inconsistency. Void of inconsistency. The doctrine of eclipse originated in Bikaji Nair versus State of Madhya Pradesh. An existing law inconsistent with the fundamental rights will become inapplicable from the date commencement of the Constitution is not dead altogether. It is overshadowed by the fundamental right and remains dormant but is not dead. In Shagir Ahmad versus State of UP, Constitution Bench of Apex Court unanimously stated the doctrine could not apply to the incongruous post-constitutional law All legislation in the Constitution of Britain was protected by the law. Was not validated as such. Constitution. The law becomes applies increases. All law in force territory of India immediately before the commencement of constitution enforced in so far as they are consistent with the provisions of Part 3 Fundamental Rights shall be the extent of such inconsistency be void. The state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges the right conferred by Part 2, and any law which is contravention of these laws shall to the extent to the contravention be void. Contravention law becomes invalid only at the extent of the existence of the doctrine in K. Gopalan versus State of Madhya Pradesh. In Bikaji Nair versus State of Madhya Pradesh. Doctrine of eclipse, A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madhya Pradesh. Doctrine of severability. Nair, severability. The doctrine has been invariable to the cases where it has been found possible to separate and valid part from the valid part of the Act. Article 13 an extent of its inconsistency. Equal protection is equal protection under the circumstances. The state can make reasonable classification because of legislation. Presumption of reasonableness is in favor of legislation. Although challenge the legislation. Transformation. Prohibition of discrimination. The article prohibits the state from discriminating any citizen on the basis of birth, caste. No citizen shall be subject to disability restriction, access of shop, public restaurants, hotel and places of public entertainment, use of tanks, bathing public resorts maintain only a part exception. The state can make provisions. The state can make provisions for children, social academic classes, schedule class students. These are schools. Social provision. Protective discrimination. Protective discrimination. No states shall not allow. State of Andhra Pradesh. Reservation of backward class citizens under the government. Individuality, abolished with harmony, civility arises. Individuality. No title being military or government institution shall be conferred by the state. Shall accept any title from the state. The person is subject to state. Constitution and the Constitution. Double G prison or in those who thanks for the same offense. Hi. Self-implementation. To 14 years and free compulsory education. Some person without being informed consequence system. Directive principles. Directive principles. Fundamental rights defined as the basic human right of for all citizens, specified in Part 3 of the Constitution. Directive principles of state policy are framing laws by the government set out in the Part 4 of the Constitution. Directive principles are not enforceable by court, but they are observed and not create any legal consequences.